I don't want to be homeless. That is the phrase that I have heard many times over, especially the last year, but it seems like even more recently. That's the topic we're going to cover today. What is causing sellers to fear they're not going to find the next home to move into? Pete, what's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? Yeah, I'm excited about this conversation. I think we're really going to be able to help a lot of people get some clarity around how they can still achieve their dreams in 2022.
Yeah, so talk to me. Like, what do you think? I mean, we've given market updates, but like, what is causing that fear from a seller's perspective of not finding another home to move into?
Well, I think one thing for sure is the media, right? The media is just saying there's no homes, there's low inventory, which we know is true. And I think that kind of creates the panic like, oh, I'd love to take advantage of this market, sell my home for a lot more. And then, but where am I going to go? Right. That's what I hear. Where am I going to go? I don't want to be homeless. But that's not entirely true.
Yeah, and it's funny because we didn't even cover this in our like offhand conversation. But the other thing, when you're talking about like mass media, I've had people telling me like, yeah, but company like BlackRock is coming in and buying up all the inventory. So that's something that's like on the news, right? BlackRock, big institutional investor coming in and buying up inventory. The thing is, though, that while that might be true in certain areas of the country, it's not happening locally, at least to my knowledge. I don't know that, in any of my listings have I received a cash offer from an institutional investor. Have you?
No, nothing. I'm not even seeing in the MLS anything that suggests that, or even, other agents who we're talking to in this area, that anything
Yeah.
like that.
And I mean, so you're going up against strong offers in this market, but that's where I guess, we kind of pivot into like, what is the reality? What are we seeing on the ground, and how can we help those sellers overcome not only just that fear that, that is a real feeling, right? There is worry, and, I can imagine the anxiety of not knowing what the next shoe to drop is going to look like, but it still goes back to the idea that if you are a motivated seller, someone that is looking to make, ideally, like I think of like a lifestyle change, right? For your family, whether that's upsizing, downsizing, moving to a new area that, benefits you and your, family in a certain way, whether it's getting down to the beach or moving out west, or, people always have reasons why they want to sell and take that next step. And we're here to kind of help bridge that gap and make sure we can help with that fear that's, very real. But we want to help you, get into that next home, and it is doable. So
Yeah, so I see like what I'm hearing more is there's really like three reasons that sellers are getting a little nervous and anxiety around, right? One is, I'm going to put my house on the market. I'm going to have this huge flood of people showing it. I'm going to have to be, moving out of my house all the time. So that's one. The second one is, of course, where, I don't want to be homeless. Where am I going to go? And then the third one is, yeah, but I'm selling at a high price and I'm also buying at a high price. So let's just take that one at a time, right? So the first one, as far as, having a ton of people through your house and having to, keep the house clean and ready to go for a long period of time. Well, we know that homes are selling quickly, right? And we also know that, Scott, we just did an open house over the weekend, and it was, I mean, there's a strategy behind it, right? So we limit the amount of showings, right? So say we list your house on Tuesday, we don't allow any showings until, whatever we mutually agreed upon time with the seller. But we can concentrate that like we did with this listing, where we got, it was like 200, almost 300 groups. Well, let's say people in and through that house in essentially a 2-day period.
Yep.
Right. So very concentrated, very controlled. We knew everybody, everybody signed in. So we had everybody's information or their agent's information when they came through the house. And we had an agent with them every step of the way throughout the house. So your safety and your security is utmost importance. And we do it in a very strategic way. So now we talk about the second thing, which is I don't want to be homeless. So Scott, why don't you take over? I don't want to be, where am I going to go? What are some things we're doing in that regard?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to the basics, right? Both you and I have always prospected on behalf of our buyers, right? So if you're selling your house with us, you're also going to be a buyer with us. That means that we're going to go out, whatever it takes. If it's door knocking into your preferred neighborhood, whether it's sending out letters on behalf of you, into that neighborhood saying, hey, I've got a buyer. If you're thinking of selling, right? That's half the problem right now is you've got people that do want to sell, but they are paralyzed into fear and are staying on the sidelines. So it's our job to go out and find those other people, right? A lot of our sellers come from our database, our sphere, yet there's other people out there that aren't yet in our sphere. And it's our job to go find those people who are sitting on the sidelines, probably having similar fears to you, and say, hey, we've got a buyer for you. Let's play that matchmaker game, right? So on top of that, we're using all the regular tools, the MLS, looking at homes constantly. And I think it's also important to know that once it comes time to place offers, you want to work with an agent that knows what's going on in the market, right? Knows how to position your offer to get it accepted. So it's kind of a full force, right? But like you mentioned with the open house, it's having a strategy, it's having a system, it's having an actual plan of attack rather than just kind of saying, hey, willy-nilly, don't worry about it. We're not gonna, have you being homeless at the end of the day. But that comes from that confidence of knowing we work our ass off to get that situation so that our sellers are easily transitioning into buying their next home. So
Yeah, you nailed it. And that's, you can win in any market, right? It's just a matter of having the right people around you to help you win and the right plan, which is something that we're putting together for quite a few of our clients right now.
yeah,
So this message is really for anybody who would really like to sell and, maybe not so much for the money, but for, like you said, the lifestyle change, a bigger home, a smaller home, something that, those things aren't changing on a day-to-day basis. We're all still going through that stuff. And anybody who thinks that I can't sell my home should reach out to us because we're going to show you how you can. It's not, it's not your grandmother's market, right? It's not sell your house, go buy a house, and everything is easy. There's definitely some challenges and some different nuances. But as long as you have that information, you can win in this market for sure.
yeah. And then pivoting to the last topic there of just, I get it, right? You're thinking, especially the upsizer is, hey, yeah, I'm selling at a premium, but I'm also buying at a premium. But the one thought that as we were talking, and then I'll throw it back to you, is like, so let's say you bought a $400,000 home 3 to 5 years ago. That home has likely seen anywhere from 15 to 30 or more percent increase in value. So let's just use a round number, like 20% increase in value. You've gained $80,000 of equity in that home just by letting the market do its thing. Now you want to go buy that bigger home for your, whether it's a growing family or just, again, enjoyment of more space. You've got $80,000 of power to go out and purchase that next home. That it's not earned income. It was literally just from the appreciation in your home. So let's say you're going out and buying an $800,000 home. You've got 10% of your down payment from that equity. So great time to take advantage of, again, some of that gained equity in your home to make that move. And yes, you are paying a premium, but now on the long-term scale, let's say you're in that next home for 10, 15 years, the appreciation in that is based off of an $800,000 purchase. So as it goes up in value, you're gaining even more equity from future moves or whatever life throws your way. So,
But Scott, interest rates are higher now.
They are. So how are we overcoming that?
Well, and it's where are they going, right? The Fed just announced that they're going to be raising rates. I think they said 6 times this year by the end of this year. Now we know that the Fed raising rates doesn't necessarily correlate a direct correlation to, mortgage rates increasing, but we know that they're projected to go up, right? So, you're buying a house now with a 4 to 4.5 rate, or you wait for home values to go down, which I don't know. Some people have been saying that. I don't know where that's coming from because as of right now, there's no signs of home values going down.
Yep.
So what happens if you wait till next year? Now the equity in your home came down and interest rates went up. That's not any better position than you're in right now. And we know that we can't time the market, right? It's time in the market.
Yeah. And so there is an actual correlation there. So roughly for every 1% that interest rates go up, you would have to see a 10% decrease in home values to basically keep your same mortgage payment. So again, that same scenario, if I were to ask you, Pete, what is more likely, that $800,000 home to drop in value by $80,000 between now and next year? Or are we more likely to see interest rates go from 4 to 5, like we just saw them go from 3 to 4 in the past year? Which one of those scenarios is more likely?
Yeah, it's going to be interest rates going up.
So
because we're so backlogged. So let's just to get away from that, the numbers a little bit, right? So I think something else that's really important for homeowners who are looking to sell right now is to understand that in the way that we receive offers, right? So I'll just tell a quick story, right? So I have clients, we were trying to buy a home, lower down payment because they didn't want to sell their house, right? They didn't want to be a contingent on the sale. So they had a lower down payment because all their equity is in their home right now. We were getting beat up, right? Because a lower down payment, someone's coming in with a higher down payment, so on and so forth. So what we ended up doing is we pivoted and we said, listen, this seller who you just tried to make an offer on their house is getting all the advantage of this market right now. And they're getting a ton of over asking, whatever. So now they have all this cash. Now they can go to their next thing. And we were willing to waive appraisal, waive inspections, and really, give them as much time as they need to find the next property. And that's what's key, is that when you're selling your house right now, you are in such the driver's seat that there are buyers who are willing to give you time to find your next house because they just want to secure a property.
Yep.
There's two ways we can structure that. I won't go into too much detail on that, but what happens then at the end of the day, if you sell your home, you get one of these amazing offers that's going to give you time, and in 30, 60 days you decide, I'm not finding anything, this is not, it's not the right time for me, you don't have to sell your home. And I think that's the most important thing to take away. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. We're not saying just throw your house on the market to not sell it in, 30, 60 days. Right. But I think just that peace of mind that, like, hey, if you want to give this a shot, you really want to improve your life, you're ready to do something. Don't feel like all these headlines, all this, talking about it's impossible. Where am I going to, it can be done. We are doing it. And we'd love to help you do it as well.
Yeah, and I think that hits on the big overall point, is that if you are motivated to make a change, right? I've got it in my tagline on my email, is changing people's lives through real estate. And you're sitting on the sidelines with that, a little bit of fear in your stomach, like, reach out to us. That's what we're here for, to be the guide to help you make sure that that is a smooth transition. It is a tough market out there. It's an interesting market, and yet you're not going to end up homeless at the end of the day. That is my promise to you. And I think Pete would agree the same, right?
Absolutely. And again, we're not saying this just because, for any other reason than just, I think you and I are having conversations and we're realizing that there are people who want to make a move and want to upgrade their life, whether it be a bigger or smaller house, and just feel like they can't, when in reality, they absolutely can.
Yeah, well said. So till next week, guys, know you're not going to be homeless. And that's because Scott and Pete said so.
I love it. Later.